quick meltdown here over Stream City, but I think we got it back up and running.
I'm back. Yeah. Quick. Nice work.
All right, guys. There's obviously some sort of hiccup with the remote commentary, but this is new. This is uncharted territory, so we'll get that stuff hammered out. Just might take a little trial and error. Thank you guys for sticking it out with us. All right, we're back in the game.
All right, we got a button straddle here.
I thought for sure she spent all that shit on Andy. I thought it was all getting on him for sure.
Wendy's gonna limp.
She was looking that way and everything. And then when he was like, oh, I was like, for sure it's all over him.
Uh-oh. A couple of limps. George raises queen 7 off to 500. Nick's gonna make the call from the straddle.
Nick just with the flat call again.
Frank's going to fold his ace-5.
Too much bourbon in the Coke.
King 3 goes check. Ooh, 7 could get George in a little trouble. George bets 5. Nick calls 5. George sees the bad news.
That's it. Queen 7 off. No good. Walked right into pocket queens. Right next door on the button.
It's just, George can feel pretty safe. Like, no one plays back at him bluffing. Even, like, he never gets bluffed. He never gets played back at. He always has the lead. He always is the aggressor. And when you have that free reign and know that no one's going to play back at you, I think it makes it much easier. Like, this is part of how he's able to win 90% of these streams, more than 90%. This will be one of the few losses he books over dozens and dozens of live streams.
That's true. Yeah, that's a good
point. No one plays back. Even like a hand as strong as queens right there, Nick played it super soft. So if you're going to play your hands super soft, your strongest hands, you're not going to make that much money. But George is going to find hands to put a lot of pressure on you. And you're not finding any hands to put pressure on him. It just makes it pretty easy for George.
Yeah, if you're already making that mistake against you, like, you've already lost.
Yeah, I think you gotta try to fight back. You can't play on his terms. Everyone seems to always play on his terms, so I think that's part of the reason that he does so well. And one reason that he doesn't leave, because you go elsewhere, people are going to start playing back. You know, people, when they know you're opening that wide and 3-betting that wide, you're going to get 3-bet and 4-bet and 5-bet more. Whereas here in his hometown, he's able to just get away with it, basically.
This is a
interesting pot here. Both players with 10s.
Yeah, this is a pretty fun pot. I want to see, can George get Toby to fold the same hand?
No, not at that price. Had he bet like 55 or something on the river maybe, but he bet all 3 streets pretty small. George is looking for value out of 8s, 7s, 6s. Yeah, Toby called 1K on the turn. He's not going to fold for 2K on the Brick River. Guns they also say never push a donkey when it will do all the pulling. Yeah, no, I agree in certain scenarios, but George is no donkey. He's just aggressive. He's a good aggressive player who's willing, like, he will bluff it off in certain times, but it's not worth that trade-off of never getting value from your big hands and always having to play it super passively unless it's the stone cold nuts. We need to be able to raise with top pair and 2 pairs and sets even when they're not the nuts. And to protect that, we We can't just always be checking
Yeah, no,
back.
I agree in certain
Our
scenarios. but
strong
George is no.
non-nut hands. Guns in the Twitch chat says they're willing to use his aggression against him. Yeah, I agree. That's what everyone's strategy is, but I think that's an incorrect strategy. I think that's why he does so well. No one decides to push back. And if you ask an aggressive player what the worst thing is, it's someone pushing back. You know, I'm an aggressive tournament player, and I like it when people play passively against me. That's what I want. Oh man, just terrible luck here for George. He finally gets the big hand. Gets 2 people in for 300 apiece with his aces, and Frank flops the nuts. George bets 100. Frank makes it
Is that 7,000?
5,000.
5,500?
55,000. Or 5,500.
I think that was a misclick. George bet 1,000. That's 2
Yeah.
purple chips. Yeah, he didn't bet 100.
Yeah, George. Yeah, he bet 1,000. He bet 1,000 into 1,000. And Frank check raises to 5,500. Frank's got 12,000 behind. This could be terrible for George. Drawing very, very thin.
Very
He's
thin.
runner, full house.
Runner, quads. What do you do in this spot? I mean, it's got to just be what are you doing this?
You
You
gotta
just
fold. Just gotta fold if you're George. Just
Can he ever do this with tens? Is he ever doing this with a hand like jacks? Not on that scary of a flop, right?
very, very, very doubtful. And he's doing it with 5s and 6s. And the thing is, he doesn't do it with, say, 7-8. He doesn't do it with 7-8 or 7-9. Or
Sure.
he doesn't do it with, like, draw plus pair hands. He just flat calls. So you can be pretty certain he has what, in his mind, he thinks is the best hand. And you've already showed him that you likely possess an overpair, and he still is raising you thinking he has the best hand. So you just got to fold and give it to him.
Great fold by George. Even on scary boards like that, I see players go broke in that spot every single day.
Oh, absolutely. George lost, near minimum there. In a spot where, stuck this much, it could have been catastrophic.
If it wasn't for George's playstyle, I would say a lot of players could check that flop, check it back. But, I mean, that range smashes George's usual opening range. It just so happened he had aces that hand. So I think it's good that he bet there. But
in that spot, I like to just flat his 1,000. Frank checked, and if he check calls, his hand looks like a draw, or it looks like a pair and a draw. It looks rather weak. And if George does have the type of hand he has, in the turns of brick, say the turns of offsuit jack, offsuit jack, offsuit queen, offsuit king, deuce, 3, 4, all these bricks, George is going to put another big bet out there, and then you can come over the top for your big check raise and try to get stacks in.
yeah, there you go.
Wendy flopping trips here. Magical turn card for Wendy as George flops or turns top pair, top kicker. Yikes. George running against it. Every hand, it seems here. Bets 1,000 into 600. Wendy's going to go all in for 3,700. George has to call. He knows he's behind. Believes he's behind. Hoping Wendy has queens with hearts.
Nope.
Wendy wins the first run out. And Wendy wins the second run out.
Oh, I thought he got there on the second one. It was a jack.
Nope. Yeah. Another tough break for George.
Wendy plus 4K that hand, 4,100 just about.
Yeah, that's another 4K taken from George. party continues.
The party keeps going.
Party won't stop.
Friday night, Best Bet Live. Right here at Best Bet Jacksonville, myself, Eddie Marskoski calling the shots. Thanks for hanging out and watching this disaster with us, guys. It's been a tough one for George.
Definitely been a tough one for George. But these happen. This is his standard saying in these spots are, Mama said there'll be days like this.
That's right.
And, every once in a while it happens. So you just got to fight through it. Know that it's bound to happen. You can't go so many days, so many wins in a row, or so many non-big downers. Big downswings happen in poker no matter who you are. Toby opens 2 jacks. It's 200. George was the straddler under the gun with 9-6 of clubs. Don't see him folding. As a matter of fact, he raised it up to 1,000. Pressure's on. Now George with only 15,000. Toby has him covered. This is new territory for George. Usually he's the one having the other player covered. 2,500 in the middle. George fires 1,500 on the flop. We don't know what the flop is yet, but I don't think Toby's going to fold. Maybe if it was an ace-king 3. Nope. Toby's going to make the call. Oh, 6-5 deuce. George flops top pair. George slowing down. The turn must not have improved him. Had he turned to 6 or 9, there would have been a big bet. River Jack. Just in case Toby's hand wasn't good, now he has a set. George only beating ace king, maybe ace 10.
And pocket
Checks
eights.
it over. Not even beating pocket eights. Pocket eights are ahead. So George not beating much at all. Wow, George is going to make the call. It's paying off tonight. Toby bets almost 2K on the river. 1,800. 2,800. Toby bets 2,800 on the river, and George pays it off.
All right, after those 2 big pots with George, let's take a look at.
It's ugly. It's ugly.
I
Toby
actually-
up nearly 12,000.
I thought it was going to
What's
be
that?
worse, to be honest with you.
38K is pretty ugly.
Dave,
38,000 George down.
Dave's stuck over 8K in this game, too. It's just not going well for those two tonight.
Yeah, Dave quietly stuck 8K. He ran pretty
Right.
terrible early and just hasn't been able to get anything going. Windy opens to 2 tens. Dave and George call. Ace high flop gets checked around.
Wendy's 2
Checked
tens
all
are
the way
good.
down when he shows the best hand.
Guys, don't forget to head over to our website, check out the schedule for the upcoming winter series. We've talked about it a couple times tonight. It starts in about 2.5 weeks. You'll see lots of myself and Mr. Marskasi during that series.
That's right. I'll be there every day. The beard will be there.
The beard.
Speaking of beards, George checks the queen deuce. Allen's going to bet the gut shot and win a small pot. George picking up pocket queens here. 3 limpers. He's going to raise it up to 300. Andy does have ace-3 of spades. Allen, 8-6 of spades, is going to take a stand. 3 ways to the flop. Ace-5-6. George outflopped. Uh-oh. Allen going to lead right out for 500.
With the middle pair.
He's got middle pair, backdoor straight outs, backdoor flush outs.
And he's kind of quieted down since he won that big 13K pot off of George, huh?
Well, that'll do it. You know, you pop
That'll do it.
a good 13K. You get up 10, 12K. Yeah.
Oh, wow, look at this hand.
Allen spikes to 8, bets 1,000 and is quickly called. And Andy has the winner. Never mind.
Yeah, 2 pair versus
I
2
don't know
pair.
I'm not sure who bet the 1,000 then. It could have been Andy.
Gross one.
Yeah, I don't know why Allen was in that pot.
This game is almost like a highlight reel of bad beats. The whole stream.
Yeah, it's been tough. George asking the table if anyone wants to put 500 in and run it in pre-flop.
I like it.
I wouldn't mind seeing it. Frank limps the ace king of club. George is going to raise his straddle to 500.
I mean, it would have been pretty dumb. I guarantee you guys have the best hand. If they limp folded here, I would just walk out. What?
2, 3, 4, 2 hearts. Let's see if George can. Wow, Frank fires out. Frank fires out 2,000. George calls 2,000. George has plans this hand. Look out for fireworks. King would be fireworks. 8. Going to give George the best hand, which he was likely going to win this one anyway without an ace or a king or a 5. Now he's value betting 2,500.
Frank
Frank's gonna
cannot
call.
fight. Yeah, can't fold.
2 overs and a gut shot. 9. Can George get some value on this river? Nope. He's going to check it back. Still wins a decent little pot there. Nice 10K pot. Gets about 4 or 5K back. 5,500. John, we're marking on George's flop call of 2,000. Gunn says, what does George do for a living? You're watching it, folks. This is what he
That's right.
does.
You got a front row seat.
He's at work right now.
That's it.
Friday grind day.
Yep. In his work shirt.
That's his uniform, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
George's going to try to make it 500 to go. Every hand.
He said, you guys don't want to flip? Guess what? I'll make you flip anyway.
George makes it 500 with pocket aces.
No way.
Wow. Oh, boy. John's going to call. Allen's going to call with the Jack-4 suited. He's just gambling now. That's what George has done. Queen 7-2. John flops a queen. John
This
got
one might
14,000.
get a little spicy.
Yep. This is what George is looking for. Oh, wow. What a fold.
How does he
Wow,
know?
what a fold from John.
How does he know?
George bets 2K and John snap folds his queen. That's how bad George is running. Great fold by John. Not looking to invest anymore. Wow.
Toby with the two nines.
Pocket nines on the button.
Yeah, on the button. He's going to bump it up.
What a great fold from John there. Really could have been in terrible shape. Knows that the stack to pot ratio was going to get a little out of hand. Makes the conservative fold. And really looks to be a great fold. George been wide open all night long, making it 500. Just the last hand with Jack 8 of diamonds. Did it again with aces, bets 2,000 on the flop. John able to just quickly fold top pair. Impressive stuff. Bet and call on the flop. Turn goes check, check here. Both players looking to get the showdown. That's what's going to happen. Better flip it over, Toby.
That's right. Second time we've seen that happen.
He almost let it go.
That's right. He thought he was beat.
If I take there? No, I haven't. Oh. You don't see two pocket pairs dropping like that.
All right. 5, 10, 25. No limit. Texas Hold'em. Jacksonville best bet.
That's right. This has been a fun stream. I'm glad we ran this stream tonight. I'm glad you tuned in from your couch to join us. It's been awesome.
Oh, I'm glad I tuned in. This has definitely been fun. I didn't have to leave the couch. That was nice.
Yeah, that rules.
Toby opens King, Queen, Hearts, 200. Allen flops an ace. Deuce of diamonds changes nothing. Allen's going to go ahead and bet that ace.
Yep.
600. Going to quickly get folds.
Allen's ace tray offsuit good. Picks up the pot. We got a few more hands for you guys. We'll be here about another 30 minutes or so, streaming live out of Best Bet Jacksonville. And then these guys will probably move upstairs and play the rest of the night, I would assume. That's usually their MO after these big streams.
Yeah, George ain't done.
That's right.
George ain't done. Toby ain't done. John ain't done. It's a party tonight. Everyone wants to be involved.
Yeah. George doesn't make it easy though. Even on his worst days, he doesn't make. You still got to earn it from him, even when he's running this bad.
Always. And he's going to make you earn it even more. When he's stuck, as we're seeing, he goes after it doubly hard. TJ Trout on Twitch says, great job, guys. Much appreciated. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, man. Thanks for tuning in, hanging out with us. You guys make sure to check out the live stream schedule. We got a ton of streams coming up, especially with the Winter Series in 2.5 weeks. We'll be streaming a ton of final tables. Still be streaming our normal big cash games. I think the month of January is just packed with streams.
Yeah, that's right. We have January 1st, 2-5 deep. 2-5 deep. And then I know later on the month we have our 100K tournament that's going to be live streamed, and then of course
right.
the $1,100 main event. I don't want to be commentating those. I'd like to be at the final table.
Yeah. We want to watch you play those.
I'll do my best to get there. Don't want to be in the booth, but if I'm not, gladly will be.
Do you guys have any interest in getting in any of these games? Just shoot an email to sages@bestbetjacks.com. Let them know what game and what date you want to play. We'll get you on the list. We'll get you in the game. And then me and Eddie will sit here and talk about your play.
That's right. We'll critique you and make you feel terrible about yourself.
There you go.
Sounds fun.
Or do it the hard way and satellite your way into one of those big tournaments, make the final table, and get on the live stream.
That's the fun way.
That's the fun way.
Yeah, those tournament live streams are always so much fun. Everyone's excited. You know, it's hard, those are hard to make. You got to earn your way there.
Look at this
Frank's
run
going to
out.
get there on the river. Frank's going to bank Broadway. George with ace queen makes the fold.
Wow,
Wendy
what a
has to
river
fold
card
at
for
10
Frank.
high. Yeah. Good fold by George.
I'm sure we'll see some of these guys at some of these final tables during the Winter Series. Toby gets there a lot. John O gets there pretty often. Like we talked about earlier, Nick can run up a huge stack. Even Wendy. Wendy gets there.
Oh yeah, everyone you said has made these best bet live stream final tables. George won't be playing it, but if he does, he wins.
That's right.
Guy's played about 10 tournaments in his life and won 5 of them.
Probably more.
Yeah, it may be more like played 6 and won 5.
He's got the best tournament ROI of all time.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable that he doesn't play more tournaments, because when he does, he just wins. But he plays so much cash, I guess it just gets in the way.
Plus, you got to pay taxes on your tournament wins. It's all
True.
gets documented.
Can't hide that. Although, just to let everyone know, George does pay taxes on his cash wins as well.
Oh, absolutely. We've talked about that extensively.
Alan's going to fire a bluff out here, 800. Nick going to look him up with the king 10. Deuce of hearts on the river. Alan going for it. He's only got 2,000 left. Bets another 1,000. No, 12? 11.
11.
This is tough. Nick just called 800. I don't know what would make you think he'd fold for 11.
Yeah,
But he's
agreed.
thinking about it. Yeah, can't fold. Price is too good. If he jams all in, Nick probably just folds. Maybe 1,100 ain't gonna fold.
Yeah, that was kind of a weird spot. I would have been very, very surprised to see a fold from Nick right there.
Yeah, I guess Alan might be just trying to get him off of clubs. If somehow Nick has king 5 of clubs or something, and which is beating the 9-5 of Alan, maybe he folds those type of hands. But any hand with a pair is unlikely to fold for what nearly the same bet of what they called on the turn.
Right.
Especially when it's the deuce of hearts on the river, like a complete inconsequential river card.
I said pre-flop, I'm gonna do it. Wait till we get around the record strategy. They'll come back. Don't worry.
What are you yelling in the poker room back there? Excited on a Friday night.
That's right. Got big high hand action going on. It's Friday night, man.
John picking up 2-8s under the gun. Nick, ace queen suited. All right, we're just going to go 6 ways to the flop, it looks like here.
Already 625 in the middle. That's a
Ace,
pretty good flop for
king,
queen 10.
jack. Wendy flops the nuts with the nut flush draw.
The super redraw.
Frank. Wendy bets super small, 175. Frank's going to call with his flush draw. Ooh, Nick flats with his ace queen. Deuce of hearts.
Frank might get out of line here with a pair and a flush draw. I think he just raised.
No, I think he just flatted. Wendy bet 400. Frank flatted. This was a brick. I'd like for Wendy to go a little larger on every street here. She's trying to make sure she gets paid, but Frank with all those chips wasn't going to fold. Now she goes big, 2K. Too late, too little, too late.
Yeah, I agree. I think she should have taxed the draws a little more on the turn. She could have gone really big on the turn and gotten a lot more money in the middle.
Yeah.
What did she bet on the turn? 400?
She bet 400 into
Like
like
1,500, right?
it was like a 20% pot. Like it was.
Yeah, she could have gone 80% pot there, I think, and probably still gotten called in 2 spots. At least by Frank.
Yeah, and then if they do have a big hand, then now the pot's bigger and your river bet can be larger too. You know, you want to when you have monster hands like that, you want to try to make the pot big enough to where you can be all in on the river for a pot size bet. You know,
Right.
so you want, you know, she's got 12 canner stacks. You want to bet big. Try to get as much in there as you can.
Or best case scenario, a spade comes that gives somebody like a four to a straight. You know what I mean? And then they can't fold, and then you can get all their chips. You're free rolling.
Well, and if they like in the situation he had a pair and a flush draw. If the flush hits, now her river bet can only be, let's say the flush did hit, it was 2,000, and he just would have called the 2,000. But had she played the previous streets with bigger sizing, her river bet could have been 7,000, and he's calling 7,000 because he
Right.
just made his flush on the river.
Absolutely.
So I mean, that betting 400 instead of say 900 on the flop can cost you 5,000 on the river.
Right. Yeah, that's a good point. That's a good way to look at it. There it is. Alan
Alan,
getting it all in.
gonna
Jack
be
10 offsuit.
All in. Alan came to gamble. It was seat came open. I bet he took his 2-5 stack of 2,000. Came over here, saw what he could do. Doubled up quickly, ran a bad bluff. Now he's all in for 750. And Frank with 2 10s. It's leaving Alan in pretty bad shape. George not wanting to miss a big pot. He's going to call with his 9-7 off. And Toby able to close the action with a pocket pair. It's going to make the call as well. 3 10s gone and 3 7s gone. Ace 8 6. George flops open ended. But we know 3 of the 10s are in any of these players' hands.
That's right.
What a winner, dude. That, well, now double.
Frank's still in the lead here
on
with
the
the
turn.
2 10s. Yeah, 2 10s still good.
Frank thinks his pocket 10s may be the best hand with that flop being checked around. He bets 1,000. Let's see if this breaks if George tries to steal it.
I
Yeah,
think George has to bet here.
There's a little side pot worth stealing here. 2,000 in the side. He checks it back. Frank's going to take the whole thing. Oddly enough, had George bluffed, Allen would have won and won a monster 4x all in. But as is, he's gone.
He gone.
He gone. Thanks
Just
for
like
coming,
that.
Alan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just like that. Seat open.
Was up about 3,000, but George real lucky, no 10 on the river. There's only 1 10 left in the deck.
That's right.
But he is. If Frank would have filled up, that would have been par for the night for George, really.
Frank's got a lot of chips too.
Yeah, as long as Frank's playing, these guys are going to be playing.
That's right.
And Frank looks like he's here to gamble. Looks like Nick straddles from the button. John opens ace jack to 200. Frank calls. George calls. 3 to the flop. Everyone with Broadway. Jack 9 6. John flops top pair, top kicker. George flops open ender. Purple chip out there, 500. John's going to make the call. And Frank's going to make the call. With ace queen high. Turn goes check, check, check. River 9. John with the best hand. It's going to try to get a little value out of Frank. If Frank has a hand like queen jack, king jack, jack 10, he's likely to call this 1,200. And because John knows when George shuts down that turn that he's done, that he was bluffing, he's no longer looking to win the pot. Because if he had value, he would always look to build the pot because he's stuck so much. So John, knowing that, can bet his ace jack for value on the river.
That's right.
And if Frank raises him, it's because he has a 9, you know, and you can easily just bet fold.
I just take it up to 125 so he doesn't raise it above 500. So if someone makes it 100, it stops at 500.
All right, straddle to 50. Toby flats 50 from the button. Looks like George raised it to 500 and Toby flatted with 8 9 of spades. Now he flops a gut shot. George bets 1,000. And Toby's going to let it go.
Easy.
We got a few more hands for you guys left here in 5, 10, 25 No Limit Hold'em. Best Bet live stream. Myself, Eddie Marskoski, calling the shots. Next stream is next Wednesday. That's the 2-5 No Limit Hold'em deep stack game.
There you go.
$1,500 max buy-in in that game.
Are you doing that? Are you doing that game?
I'm not. I'm actually. I'm not doing that one. I think I'm off that.
Wait, you pulled that thing, man?
You'll have Wes.
Oh, we got some big hands out here.
We do.
John opens 2 queens on the button to 200. George in the straddle raises it to 1,000. What do you make it? 1,050 maybe? Yep. John with 2 queens. It's going to be very interesting to see how this plays out.
Wow. Wow. I gotta wait now.
He raised 5,000.
Time.
And Andy stands up and says, wow. Well, this is a big one, boys and girls. George with 10 jacks suited. It's going to be 3,900 to him. He made Peel for a flop.
He's
He's
definitely
going to
going
know
for a
John has. He knows John has, one of 4 hands, though. Queen's probably the lowest hand John would do this with.
I just showed it to Wendy, so she knows I'm not bullshitting.
This or ace king suited, potentially.
Can I talk out loud? No?
Andy's going to fold. He doesn't want to play for 5,000 when he's only got 200 invested. He's already given off too much information about his hand. He's made the decision in his mind. He's going to fold a long time ago.
What do you do? What are you supposed to do with ace king in this spot? What do you have to fold, right?
Fold it quickly though. You don't waste all of our time with it.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that. It's just kind of, it is kind of a tough spot.
But here's the thing: even if you do continue, you can't act like this, right? When you act like this, you're giving too much information away. They know you don't have aces,
Right.
right? He's gonna fold. Don't pick up the chip like you're gonna put it in. He's gonna fold with his left hand. Boom.
Nailed it.
Frank folds his 2 10s.
I don't think George is ever folding here.
Against John, he may.
Yeah, I think I have like 10 back.
He calls.
Never folding.
John only has 10K behind. 1-to-1 stack the pot ratio for John.
Ooh.
Great flop for John. He's going to be able to.
50,000 is hope.
George doesn't come anywhere close to a pair.
We're not getting
No.
Show the bluff. That's good for the game. Show it, your bluff. Show it. 15 minutes.
George checks. John jams.
See it later. Come on, man. Come on, watch the rewind and watch it.
You're gonna make us wait?
You made us both throw pocket pairs away over here.
What did you have? John, what did you have? Ludicrous speed. 15 minutes, we'll see. Okay, at the end of this, tell us.
How much did you have invested?
Me? 200.
You flopped stuff? Makes sense.
No.
Yeah, 10s and queens beat.
I did not have queen.
I didn't have queen high.
Then what did you have? You had queens in? I promise you I did not have queen.
And you had 10s.
We'll see in 15 minutes.
I'll make a bet with you right now.
Well, I'm not going to bet it. I mean, I want to see. What did you have?
Yeah,
then?
jacks.
Jacks? You folded queen? We'll see in 15 minutes, asshole. What did you have?
I promise you I didn't have queen speed.
When in doubt, rip it, man.
Toby opens the ace 3 of clubs. 200.
I've been losing to him. See, if it was him going 5,000, I'm calling. If he's going 5,000, I've been losing to him every time. I'm like 0-4 against him.
I'm just saying, we can make a bet if I had queen speed.
I'm sure he did it, but I mean, I'm still not calling.
Dave in the 3rd blind with pocket 8s.
One time you told me you
Gonna make
flopped
the call.
trips, and me and George flopped trips in the hand. He didn't have trips. He goes, I had a jack. I'm like, I saw George's jack. I had a fucking jack.
So you had pocket jacks here.
No.
What did you have?
We're
Pocket
talking about a
jacks?
different hand.
No, but that one. I said he had pocket 10s, he had pocket queens.
You guys can't figure that shit out? What did you have?
Ace king. I didn't have ace king. I didn't have ace king either. I didn't have jack.
Like Dave bets the 7 high flop and takes it down.
Did you have to be 10? You said you had. That means you have to have.
I like this move out of Dave. Pretty easy. Pretty cut and dry.
Yeah, pocket eights, 7 high flop is about as good as you can want, or hope for.
Like 1,000, 2,000 here.
How much was in that pot?
They just ran the table for us. That's 2 hands. Over 10,000.
Like we talked about earlier, guys, if you're interested in getting in any of these games this month, drop an email, Sage, S-A-I-G-E, Sage S at bestbetjacks.com. Let him know what game, what day you want to play, and he'll shoot you an email back. We'll get you on the list.
Very hard to get it.
I give you all my purpose for that plan. And I can let you know how much is in there. It might be 6,500. You stay focused. I'll put the towel. Look like about I might as well just go ahead.
Andy limps the button. King Jack. Dave raises from the big blind with Ace Jack of clubs. Andy's going to make the call for 100 more.
Dave, are you still here?
David, you still here, buddy? Still here, Dave?
King, Queen 5, all diamonds. Dave gets outflopped. Check, check, 5 of clubs. Dave checks it over to Andy. Andy has to bet now. $1.75. Quick fold from Dave.
You had Jack Strong?
Not in it.
Hard not to. My Jack didn't see that.
Could have got a second flop.
Yeah, listen, I
Could have broken it.
Wendy with the King Jack. Just going to raise it up to 100. No, she's going to flat call. Just limps in. Excuse me. Frank limps the button. King 4 offsuit. Where are our blinds? This can't be right. She must have raised, and he flatted. Yeah, because he bet 300 on the flop. She check calls, turns a queen. She checks, and Frank snap grabs his chips again. This was that bluff we were talking about earlier. Haven't seen him do this with value when he instantly grabs his chips.
Huh.
It's been a bluff.
That's right. We did talk about this.
If we don't have it, you have a second choice because we were out yesterday.
Is that what you were drinking earlier? I've never seen that. Is that what
I was drinking it earlier, but
If you had it earlier today, you probably have it. I'm just saying yesterday. We
you
were
don't have
out
1942, do you?
No, we have
They got 1956.
1800. That's like gasoline, you know. I'm
shot
like
a Drano.
1942.
Just shot a
you go
Drano on me.
1800.
I don't know. I'm like 21. Anyone else for food and
He
beverages?
said, I don't know, I'm 21.
Did you say I don't know I'm 21?
Yeah.
This time, John with the 2 jacks, opening it up to 100. Getting called by Andy, Ace 7 of hearts. I really thought
Oh,
Nick would
George
jump in there with
three
the. I really thought Nick would be in there with the 7 tray of spades. And then George coming in for the big 3-bet, Ace 4 off, making it 1,000 to go.
Big 3-bet. 100
10x,
to 1,000.
10x 3-bet.
He's not going to put.
What a stuck Andy called?
This is just the George and John show now.
Not the last clock.
Oof. Queen, Queen 10. John not going to be finding folds on the Queen, Queen 10. George bets 2,025.
had 2 pumpkins, you definitely would have called. My favorite part of this guy. My favorite part of that hand was the quarter. 2,000 and a quarter. Like you just picked up the quarter.
John getting rid of the jacks there, huh?
Wow.
Yeah.
John not looking to mix it up unless he's certain he has a lock on the hand.
I think he knows that George is on mega tilt. He's playing any 2 cards. Allen's back
Nice.
with some black chips.
Allen's back,
He's back in the game.
looking to do what he did last time, spin it up, try to keep a hold of it this time.
Spin it up and get out before it gets too late.
John usually goes like this. He picks up something and goes like this. Calls.
Were you gonna call when you picked up the chip, or were you always folding?
Looks like George making it 500 to go with the 2 8s. Pretty standard. 10x the straddle pot.
There we go. Not anymore.
Gets a call from Frank with the queen jack offsuit. Jeremy in the chat. Yeah, I'll get you some updates after this hand, man. We'll drop some stats for you guys. George gets that one through. Jeremy in the chat looking for some stats. Here you go. George still stuck close to 40K, and Andy up almost 12.
Andy and Nick up over 11,000 each. Toby right on their heels. A lot of winners tonight. The only losers are Dave and George.
That was the difference when I realized the quarter was out.
That's
Everyone
it.
else winning big.
1,000, I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, that beat though. What are the chances of him?
This is a rare big losing session for George on the live stream. We don't see this very much.
4 and 5 for you. 6 makes it 200. 7 fold. 8 fold. 9 fold.
I just want to play a 50K pot.
Dave bumping it up with the ace queen suited out of the hijack. Looks like we finally got his stack right. He's got about 6K, open at 200.
Give George a flush draw.
Gonna raise and take it.
Jeremy, no problem. Happy to do it for you anytime I can. Drop those stats on you guys.
Toby, you, or John went to this. That way I can call.
Unfortunately, not much has changed since the last time we looked at him. Big winner is still the big winner. Big loser is still the big loser.
Yeah.
I'll give 5K.
It's a cool tool to have, though. It's especially cool during the tournaments when you can see like the percentage of the chips in play. It can do all kinds of stuff.
Eye for an eye, baby. Eye for an eye.
Looks like Nick just limping the king-queen suited. A little out of the ordinary for him. We saw him 4-bet that hand earlier, didn't we?
Yeah, George is in the straddle, so it's a little different atmosphere, right? He can just make it 500 when he gets back to him. So instead of raising and getting bullied out of the hand, they're limping and they're gonna call, and to see chop flops for cheaper, and hoping to get there for just their 50 anyhow. Okay, big flop, King 10-3, and Frank leads 400 with King 9. Nick with King Queen's gonna make the call.
Nick trying to keep him in.
Eight of clubs on the river. Nick's gonna have the best hand. Gonna look for a value bet. See if Frank can look him up with one pair.
How much does Nick bet here? It looks like 1,100. Does that look right?
11 or 12, 16.
Oh, 16.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. The clubs are a little scary, but your hand's too good to just check back.
That's right.
So he bets a little less than half pot, right around half pot. If Frank goes over the top, Nick's going to be put to a tough decision, but he can fold. but he loses less than had he bet, say, 2,500.
Here we go. 500 for back and play.
Just put it in. Just put it in.
Yeah, and if Frank somehow backs into some kind of wonky straight or something there, 16 is the right number, I think.
Yeah, Frank actually makes a pretty good laydown, folds top pair.
This game's going to go all night, guys. If you're in the area and you want to jump in, 5, 10, 25, no limit hold'em, min buy-in 2K. Stop by, put your name on the list. It's going to go all night. You probably got time to take a nap now and show up in a couple hours and get in the game. I won't be here. I'm going home. Eddie's not here. Eddie's on his couch.
I am home.
Eddie's already home.
All I gotta do is log off.
That's right.
No drive home.
Trips alone is like as much as the rest of it. Like trips is like 16 on the line.
Trips is like 25 points up top, right?
No, it depends on the trips, but he's got trip 7, so that's about 16 with the line.
Nick's gonna open the 3-2 suited to 150.
I like it. Mix it up a little bit. Runs right into the ace-10 suited from Wendy. And what's Allen in there with? 8-5 of clubs on the button?
Yeah, Alan came to gamble.
That's
Now
right.
George said, no, let's make it a real number, 1,500.
With queen-10 offsuit, with the worst hand. Well, I guess Allen's hand's pretty bad.
Wow, Alan's gonna shove. He may get Wendy to fold, and George could have the best hand here.
Yeah, Wendy's got to fold here.
Wow, it's fortuitous for George. Wendy had him dominated. I think they said they're just doing it once. 10 for George, 8 for Allen, and another 10. Wow, Wendy. Woo. Wendy would have had ace 10.
With the case 10. Wow, sick one.
Oh, could have been a monster pot if somehow Wendy crept in there.
Allen came to gamble, couldn't get there. Got his second bullet. Just lost it to George with the queen-10 offsuit and the big three-bet pot. Wendy's probably got to be pretty bummed about that one. Folded the big ace-10.
Yeah. Folded the best hand and would have coolered George.
I think that changes the whole dynamic of the hand, though, if Wendy calls.
Yeah, but he's still flop top pair. There would have been bets put in that river. No way.
Sure.
It's not getting crazy.
That's right.
To be Larone on Twitch says, yo,
Yo, what's happening?
welcome. Corona time for Nick. John opens 2 6s, 200. Frank and the big blind going to make the call with Queen Jack, and George going to call from the straddle with King 9. Frank, bottom 2, leads right out 1,000. Quick folds from George and John.
Bud moves, we're on to the next hand.
A lot of ace-jack takes king.
Like we said, guys, next Wednesday is our next scheduled stream. We'll be streaming 2-5 No Limit Hold'em Deep Stack Cash. LGTNO Gringo in the chat. Does games like this usually run this big stakes over there? No, this game I think is mostly for the stream. We'll spread it. We'll spread it anytime you want to play this big. But this game doesn't run all the time. No.
Nick raised to 75. Gets back to George, who limped under the gun. Limp raises to 575 with queen 3 off. Excuse me, not under the gun. He's the third blind. Looks like this is the last hand of the stream. Thank you, everyone, for joining.
This is going to
See
be
if we
it.
can get a little action. Yeah, this is it. Are we going to see you on the feed back there, walking up?
No, you won't.
No. Not going to get the cameo?
No, we already shut it down.
Well, yeah, but you could have walked up. What I mean is 15 minutes ago, did you walk up behind these guys?
No, I just told the dealers.
There you go. Johnny likes to see himself on camera, I guess.
He's better looking than I am.
That's true.
That's true.
Last
All right,
hand,
last hand
Dave
of the
raises
night.
it to 100.
Yeah.
Oh, Dave. Shorts folds before anything. Dave flops the nuts.
Was George just on auto fold there? Just at snap fold? He had the no matter what fold box clicked?
Well, I think Dave reached, but before he could even get to his chips, George folded.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right, guys, that's going to do it for us. Myself, Eddie Marscasi, thank you for joining me. It's been a lot of fun. I'm excited to have this new tool where we can call you anytime and annoy you and wake you up and get you to come commentate with us.
I like it. This is good. I'll be commentating more live streams.
I love it. Thank you guys for tuning in. Sorry about all the hiccups. It's been a lot of fun. We'll be back Wednesday night. Before we leave, we'll drop you with the final stats. Eddie, what do we tell them?
As always, keep repping the nuts.
Thanks, guys. See you Wednesday.